Welcome to Principle 2. This is that of emotional memory images. Emotional memory images, I can safely say, made an incredible influence on my life and really helped me transform from feeling anxious, from feeling stressed, feeling low, to actually feeling confident, changing my career and moving into coaching. So emotional memory images pack quite a punch. Now, if we think, what are they? Anytime you are involved in a significant emotional event, your brain registers everything about that situation. The important thing to note here is a significant emotional event is completely unique to you. So in some instances that might be being attacked and it might be being assaulted, which I think we'd all appreciate is a significant emotional event. But also, if you're 9 years old and you're standing up in front of the class and you get something wrong and the whole class laughs at you, then for a 9-year-old, that's an incredibly significant emotional event. So it's relative to your experience. Now, we talked about when one of these events happens, your brain registers all of the information about it. And what it does is it creates an emotional memory image of that event. So the emotional memory image is almost like a visualization of what happened. The tricky part is that your brain stores this out of your conscious awareness. So it happens, your brain stores the information and it stores it subconsciously. So you don't have regular access to it once the event is gone, you just think it's done and dusted. But your mind stores that information as a safety mechanism for when you move forwards. And then as you go through life, any time your mind can link what you're currently experiencing to that previous event, your brain fires off all of the same chemistry, all of the same feelings, all of the same alarm bells as you felt from that initial event. So this means as we grow up and as we go through life, the vast majority of us will have at least a few significant emotional events. And when these emotional memory images are just left, what happens is they just accumulate over time. A little bit like baggage in your store cupboard. It just gets more and more and more and more and more. And the more of these emotional memory images you gather, then the more emotional clutter you collect. And this is really important for a couple of reasons. First of all, your subconscious mind fires, for want of a better word, about 200 milliseconds before you can consciously think about something. So the more baggage you have, the more you start to react rather than deciding or choosing. So it means you become more reactive to situations, and then by the time you've got a chance to think, you've already had the negative response that you were trying to avoid, and then it's too late. So by learning how to access emotional memory images and learning how to clear them, in part using the law of polarity, that allows all of that stored information to fade away, all of that old chemistry to disappear, all of that stress response and that fear response to just resolve and neutralize. So emotional memory images are incredibly important for improving and boosting your mental fitness. And I mentioned that your brain stores all of the information. So as an example, if when you were 9 years old, you were the person in that classroom and the whole class laughed at you, and you noticed that the teacher who told you off and laughed at you was a big man with black hair and had an authoritative tone, and there were girls in the audience who were pointing and laughing at you, that means as you grow up, if you come into contact with someone who's a big person with black hair, your mind may trigger that same alarm bell. Even though it's a completely different setting, it's a completely different time, when your mind makes that link, it fires off that same chemistry. It can also mean that if you're trying to date, if you're trying to find a relationship, or if you're in a relationship already, and another female has a bit of a chuckle or has a bit of a laugh at your expense, then that can fire off that old chemistry and get you feeling really stressed, anxious, and in a bit of a panic. So emotional memory images are really, really important, and they are why we've gone for principle 2.